We went over Friday night.
And
they have.
Marshall.
There's another.
Saturday morning.
Oh, yeah.
Now, there's six months thing, but it's not quite as
Especially on Saturday night, so.
You know, I was sitting out there watching.
It's got been reading.
I got a picture.
I'm like.
Good afternoon. If you guys can hear me, we can't hear you.
David, can you hear us? David, can you hear us? You're.
He's chatting over.
Yeah, had to drop chat. I can hear you guys now.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. This is time for public comments. If you have anything to speak on for county business topics, please do so now. But
I want to start with Ben because he's gonna leave early again. So K Avenue is being dug out, lifted up, going north.
Yep.
Okay, so now you're gonna close our bridge on E 43 in about 2 months, right? That's still on board. Okay, so, how long is it gonna take that tall, narrow, skinny, soft road to be able to have semis, tractors, grain carts and all that stuff on it? So you're gonna close one access and now that one's going to take, and how much farther north will you guys be going?
We're just going a mile to 270.
Okay, and how soon will that be able to be driven on? Just safely, because right now it's about a 20-mile-an-hour, one-lane road.
Well, that's how fast you should be going at the max anyway. Oh, I'm just saying.
That's not allowed for discussion, right?
I apologize, I said that out loud. I was supposed to be just be thinking that.
The, you know, with weather and whatnot, be treating it like it's open. So,
You didn't answer me though.
I think he did.
well,
No, I said, how soon will it safely be able to be, driven with farm to market?
it'll be, like, when we're opening it, it'll be safe to drive on. So,
I'm talking about K Avenue right now.
yeah, I'm talking about K, so when we have it open, it'll be safe to drive on.
Okay, I got my comment filed, so that's good enough.
He has nightmares about you.
He should not be tearing up roads. right now in our area where it's almost, you know, farm to market roads. I don't wanna be Tama. I wanna live in Tama, no farm to market road, brand new. Oops, there a Tama person here?
Anybody else wish to speak? Good job.
Yeah, I would, Mark. I would first like to address the Board of Supervisors and, but I want to reassure you guys that the taxpayers of Tama County stand with you. I had a lengthy conversation with a gentleman by the name of Tama, and it's on our TCAP page public. We each have our opinions on wind, property rights, whatever it is. Very cordial conversation. I presented that he nor I can spray when we want or spray whatever we want. We have regulations and laws to follow. Where I live, I can feed a lot more cattle than what I have, but I have regulation to comply with. I also said that Craig Sash, who serves on the Board of Zoning and is a hog producer, has laws and regulations to comply with. He cannot spread manure on top of the ground. It's got to be injected. Manure management plans, nor can he put a hog building wherever he wants. Tom Waller and I had agreed on one thing. Everyone must follow the laws. I encourage each and every one of you to look up Tama County against turbines and read that conversation. That night I was in bed. My phone dinged at about 5 to 11. I received a text message from Craig Sash, threatening me, accusing me of defamation. There is nothing that I said that defamed anybody. So what I'm saying, and I would be glad to read that in its entirety in front of all of you. But the language used, I will not say that in front of ladies. But anybody is welcome to see what I received at 11 o'clock at night on Saturday night from Craig Sash. I will be giving my information to Sheriff Schmidt for his own use. Second of all, and I take it this is a live recording.
Correct. That's it.
Okay. For the wind energy company lawyers that are watching now, Craig Sash is on the Tama County Board of Zoning. He played a role with the other members of the zoning board in enacting and developing key regulations and laws of the land that need to be followed in this county. Now, I don't know if his problem comes in with violating their gag order, but this is knowledge. He was part of it and serving on the Tama County Board of Zoning. Now, I would like to think that he's on that board to serve the Tama County taxpayers and not to advance his own ambitions. Having said that, I have been sued. My colleagues have been sued in the last 3 years. I have been threatened. My family has been threatened. I have been invited to sit at a kitchen table in Traer to sit down with a one-on-one with a wind developer. I have no idea why they would want to invite me to sit down with a wind developer at somebody's kitchen table alone. I have no idea. I encourage you guys to stand with the Tama County taxpayers. I refuse to be bullied. I refuse to be bullied. I've done nothing wrong. A good friend of mine told me truth will prevail. That truth came out at that hearing, at least some of it. So I want to make sure you guys are not intimidated, bullied, or threatened, because it will probably come. I have received it personally on numerous times. But like I said, truth will prevail. I have nothing to hide. I was not, actually, if you read the conversation I had with Tom Waller, I gave praise to Craig Sash for doing his job. So again, I just wanted to reiterate that he serves on the Tama County Board of Zoning. And it's his job, his duty, to enact and protect the Tama County taxpayers, along with the other members of the zoning. And I know the Board of Adjustment will be doing their job soon, and I am thankful for that. One more note, and I'm done talking. Bulldozers, road graders are actively running this morning, not on the laydown yard, in fields at turbine sites. There are Steiger quad track tractors, agriculture tractors hooked to scrapers. A pair sitting east of 63 and a pair sitting west of 63. In fields, not in the laydown yard. It is my opinion, I would call that active construction. Dust is flying right now. I believe that's all I have.
So since John brought up the turbines, I'll go ahead with what I wanted to say. And I know that John already does this. He thanks God for every single day. Every morning he gets up and asks for guidance and discernment, prays for that. He puts his armor on every day, and I think we all had better do that. But when we had that hearing, there's so many things we're not allowed to put in the paper for accurate information. But discrepancies with nearly all 60 turbines were brought up. Almost all of them. Some of them were unbelievable, like electrical lines and which direction they were going to go. None of them were following the original contracts of whenever those were written. So how can these huge international companies be trusted at all when so far everything that they have been built on a foundation of lies and secrecy and in darkness, and a lot of it during COVID, before and during, when we couldn't have when we couldn't have this. So it is nearly impossible to rehabilitate an unrepentant thief or an evildoer that has no remorse because of greed and a love of money and a love of spending money. And whose money are they going to be spending? Ours. And what goes on farms like Craig's would be his money. But what goes on with all of this international stuff is taxpayers' money. And when you look at the amount of people that right now can't pay their property taxes, to me, that's a little frightening, because that's never been, I don't remember in 70 some years ever seeing that before. So things are starting to get tight and hurt. And we're always looking for money in this county, so not a good thing. And these companies, no matter what they say, they have to have money to keep going. They don't really pay money, but they sure do take our electricity away. Other big metropolitan areas.
Anybody else? Thank you. Close public comment for now. Need to discuss and approve the May 29th of 25 regular minutes.
So moved.
Been moved
Second.
and seconded, discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion will carry.
Right on time.
8:45, all right. Need a motion to go into public hearing on FY 25 budget.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries, we're in public hearing on, resolution 6-2-2025A for FY 25 budget amendment. As well as 6-2-2025B for FY 25 budget amendment. Appropriations. Anybody wish to speak on this item? Sorry.
I don't need exact specifics, but what's included in intergovernmental, line 8? Like what kind of thing would be in intergovernmental? Where it's increasing 216,894.
The public health.
Say it could be public health or it could be the public safety.
I was just gonna add, the ones that we are requesting are grants that we didn't know that we were going to actually receive or not, and
Yep.
we have been able to acquire those grants. We have expenses to go with those grants, so that's why we are asking for our budget.
Yep, they're like 200 and something, if I was guessing that's where it was from. Yep. Public health.
Okay.
Any other comments, questions? Have we received any written?
Nope.
No. Yeah, for clarification on Laura's point, we encourage public health to budget that in their budget this next year, hoping that it will come. The grants, because it seems like every year you have to do a budget amendment to allow for the spending that comes with those grants, so. We have done that, right, this year? We fixed that. Need a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, been moved,
Second.
seconded to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now we will act on, resolution 6-2-2025A for the budget amendment. Need a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion to approve 6-2-2025A for the FY 25 budget amendment.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Discussion? Roll call.
Homer,
Aye.
Turner,
Aye.
Nickel,
Aye.
Dolan.
Aye.
Pepper.
Aye.
Okay, that motion passes. Next, I need to approve 6-2-2025B.
I'll make that motion.
Been moved
I'll second it.
and seconded. Discussion? And roll call.
Homer,
Aye.
Turner,
Aye.
Nickel,
Aye.
Dolan,
Aye,
Pepper.
Aye.
that motion passes. Ben.
Morning.
Morning.
Got traffic counters out, on the roads this week, the DOT does that, so. And then our spray crew is starting to spray for thistles. This on Wednesday, we're looking to get 340th Street, bridge. There's a cap replaced for that. The dirt one for the tank cars and G, we'll finish that up and we're hoping to get that rocked, either today or tomorrow, to have that opened up. And then last week, started there on K, north of the shop. We'll be doing that in kind of sections, so we kind of did the section from 280th to kind of the first house, and then we'll kind of be in between houses, you know. So we're gonna be doing that section. We got the section south rocked, so kind of be, and we'll be kind of holding off with the rain here, obviously, to start on the next one. That was kind of happening Tuesday, so. Interviews this past Friday for bridge crew labor position. I'll be checking references this week and kind of probably conditionally out for in probably midweek. And then let you guys know who I'm offering it to, and then we'll drug test and all that, drug test, license check, background check, all those sort of things prior to the full offer. And then today we started 410s, and then also I know from this one of our, I think it was Central Iowa, that let us know that they have not finished some of their dust control yet, and so there's a few spots that I'll kind of finish up. So I know Jericho had told us that on Friday they should be all, or I say Jericho, I mean Environment. So they've since switched, and it's trying to get my head wrapped around. It's Environment. Yeah.
That's good to know. I just had a text this morning and I was like, Iowa, was supposed to do it May 15th, and she's like, it's not done, and
And I guess
is that just when it started or something?
that's when their approved date, I guess they send us a list and they say, hey, we could be starting the 15th. It
Gotcha.
depends on the company. Some are like, that's their set day and that's when they start. And
Yep.
Others are like, they kind of,
Generalize it. Yeah.
Generalize it,
Yep, she
so.
said they're coming today though, so
okay.
it'll be good.
I guess, are you done on W Avenue? W Avenue? Well run. You mean X, W, oh, on that culvert? Yeah.
The road post line in the ditch, yeah.
More than likely, yes. Get those out of there.
Do you have any update on the truck traffic west from the quarry?
In West Thunder Quarry, one day when I got called out about that, it was PCI that was hauling, contacted PCI and they're going south. So
Okay, I haven't had any more complaints.
Yeah.
What was the remedy?
that was kind of the remedy of talking to PCI and letting them know. Apparently, I called the quarry and they were just going back to routine and habit, but it had rained and so they're, we're fine now, but started going that way. But that cell kind of approved what what they just control to, so the cell, solve their worries.
Thank you.
Yeah, utilities in it.
Oh, yeah. Yep, have a utility permit, for F Avenue, crossing under 280th Street. It's kind of that hashed, those circles, that's kind of where they're going to be going, and reviewing that spot where they kind of get to doing that, we'll be doing some ditch work and probably putting in a pipe, across the road. But right now, with that ditch, there's no outlet to where it needs to go, so we're gonna be putting a cross pipe and, but other than that, gonna dig in the ditch and whatnot to make sure when they do bore it 3 foot, that we wouldn't be kind of in conflict, so.
I had a question about that.
Yep.
So I was reviewing, one of the things for work, and it looked like they're gonna put a 3-inch water line across the road for a new construction. Is that by chance, on Power Chic water?
It'd be. Are you talking about this one, or? This is a regional utilities association.
I'm at a slight disadvantage. I'm working off of 2 computers trying to stay on top, but I just noticed there was, in one of the things we're talking about today was a 3-inch water line crossing underneath the road for new construction that looked like for a house. And I wanted to know if that was for Power Chic.
It's the other utility company, David.
Okay, thank you.
Newton.
But it's still real water. Does that make sense?
It does. I just want to make sure we weren't putting stuff in for Power Chic when they said no new facilities or new people added because of the low water.
They're adding on a few people here and there that have been on the list. I've hooked up 2 or 3 already. And I know there's 2 or 3 more. So they are adding some, but not very fast. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
I know one of the guys that's been on the list for 3 years, so, and he finally got water.
Other questions or comments on the utility permit? If there are none, take a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Before you leave, Ben, I had one other item too.
Yeah.
I got a complaint that with these turbine poles that are being dug, even when they stay in place, they're driving the dozer on your roads.
Okay.
Tearing it up. They should be hauling this. Instead of rushing it through, doing what they're not supposed to be doing, they should be doing the right thing, loading it up and moving it. It's not a haul route. They can't just be driving these dozers and tearing our roads up. So
Okay.
let's do something about that over GHI, all those areas.
Question?
I have a question before Ben leaves. Are there counters out on Airport Road? What are those?
The black strips?
Yeah.
Yep, it'd be traffic counters, Yep.
What would that be for?
counting traffic.
I know,
Well,
man.
the state
But-
comes every 4 years, they count traffic. And so they set them out there in different locations.
Okay,
And, well, I guess I don't know what you're trying to, what would,
well, you don't just count traffic all over Tama County, so there must be a purpose in mind for counters on that gravel road, low traffic gravel road.
They just,
I mean,
they were putting one out on my road this morning when I drove by.
Yeah.
There's a guy there ready to put one out.
yeah, so they're just,
They're
so they're out there doing different spots.
Is it the county or the state?
That'd be the state. The state usually is, they're always the one that, you know, hey, we're gonna go every 4 years, they
Okay.
get traffic counts for our, not all of our gravel roads, but some of them.
Some.
And so then they do all of our paved.
They're in Benton County too.
Yeah.
I've been over there the last couple of weeks. They got,
There's just a reason for everything that happens.
Well, they have maps and that's where they're going to divert their resources. If we have a bad road and we have 500 cars driving on it a day as opposed to 5,000, they're gonna put their money where the 5,000.
Thank you for the explanation for this group. Could have asked Kurt Hilmer, he probably knew.
Oh, I knew it the whole time.
All right.
Have a good week, man.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, Ben.
Discussion possible action on landfill. Landfill insurance premiums.
Yeah, I'm an insurance premium, Dave from the Tama County Landfill Administrator, and I just want to kind of see if we can shed light on why the landfill pays more for their insurance than the county does. You'll see on the stuff that I gave you, we pay about $6,500 more a year. And that started in, as near as Chris and I can figure out, 2018-19. We always paid the exact same up until then. At the time, I know you're probably thinking, why am I bringing this up now? I brought it up quite a few times at our landfill meetings when the 3 supervisors sat on our board. Nobody could ever give an explanation for why it was. I know that they would say it was 28Es and it was economic development and the landfill were the 2 that got charged extra, but there is 5 28Es in the county and 3 of them didn't get charged the extra amount. So I was wondering if you guys can look into, shed some light on and see why we're getting charged extra unless you've already looked into it.
I have, I brought this up during budgeting time, and I asked why, you guys were being charged more and economic development was being charged more for the health insurance premiums, and, that's the answer that I received back, that you guys were 2080 agreement. That was kind of the only explanation I ever had. I think that's what people were instructed, you know, as of that time. And I do raise the issue that there are other 2080 boards, that also are on their health insurance and they pay the lower rate, the same as county employees. And thought that that should be equalized. And so that's why I brought it to your attention and why we're here now. I did ask, Michelle and Paul, our HR person, what other counties do. And he said, all the other counties, every entity pays the same thing. Michelle checked with our insurance and we can change this at any time. And so while I'm not really in favor of retroacting, you know, that would put us, our budget amendment would have to be increased and all those kind of things. And so if we could, at the beginning of the fiscal year, start charging you guys the same as everybody else, as well as economic development, should that proceed forward, that everything will be on an equal playing field. And so that's what we would do here today. And I'm okay with it. Let the rest of the board speak to it if you have any comments or good word.
Only fair.
Yeah, it's just our health insurance fund that we were just, for whatever reason, taking in more money, and we have plenty of money in that fund, so I'm good with it too. I think we need to be fair and equitable for all of our employees, whether they're 2080 or not, so.
Fair enough, thank you.
I agree also.
I'll make a motion that in fiscal year, we change this so everything's equal.
Okay, it's been moved.
I'll second it.
I'll second it.
I'll third
Michelle, that's all right.
it.
You got it. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to reduce the amount of health insurance premium that the 220ADs, I think this is for both, this act, for both. We're starting the fiscal year 2026. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. It's better. Thank you.
Thank you.
It wasn't even that hard.
No, not at all. Started this 5 years ago.
Yeah. Persistence pays off. Okay. Next, discussion and possible action on stay of commercial energy conversion systems. This was brought to our board last Friday, or Thursday, excuse me, during our regular meeting. And we voted to table it until today if we had some more information available. We have done more digging. Heather, speak on it if you wish.
Yeah, just, we're working with legal counsel, obviously, like you said, John, we have people watching on the Teams meeting, so today we won't be able to speak to it, but I would say it is being handled. The taxpayers' wants will be, I guess, we will ensure it gets done, I would say. I know with the prior board, that wasn't always a good answer with us. I think you can trust us, we are doing everything possible to follow the law and make sure that there's a lot of different avenues that you can go, and obviously, you know, we need to do things the right way, so, say our word for it, that we are doing everything we can. Like you said, I'm in the project area. I spent a Saturday of seeing equipment show up in my backyard and the field next to me when there's a stay in place, so, trust me, it's being worked on, the board collectively, it's, you know, not just me, we have to follow the law, and that's what we're here to do.
Absolutely.
There's an ordinance and a law for a reason. If it's not followed, it's not even about wind turbines. If someone else comes in and they're like, oh, Tama County doesn't follow ordinances or laws, what are they gonna do, right? They're just gonna bulldoze over whatever agenda that they have. They'll be putting things right in their neighbor's, you know, fence line, they'll be throwing up, erecting, whatever they want to. So enforcement is big. So we will get it handled, and quickly, because like you said, they are actively out there when they should not be. So yeah, we'll work on it. Sorry, I can't say more, but I'm sure you understand
Absolutely.
why, because every move that we make, it just gets challenged.
We thank each and every one of you. You have the complete support of the overwhelming majority of Tama County taxpayers. We stand with you.
Thank you. And just to echo what Heather says, it's kind of like offense and defense, and I don't give the other team my playbook, to let them know what route we're running. And so
Absolutely.
there's only so much that we can say publicly. I hope, that the hearing last Tuesday instilled some confidence in the things that we do know and the avenues that we're trying to go. As you probably know, our ordinances that were written and codified and are the rules that we have to follow. And they're not a example that anybody should follow as far as how to adopt ordinances, because there's a lot of ambiguity in how to enforce this and without getting too specific, we have to work within the confines of a vague and ambiguous ordinance, and try to apply the law. The state law, is a little bit more clear, and the case precedent that's set for us in judicial rulings are out there, but not a whole lot on this code. The one that Laura cited for us last time, the 335.14, there's some places you can go and find definitions that courts have given to specific words, because that's where we're at, to enforce. And we have three different attorneys coming up with three different, not us ourselves, but three different entities coming up with three different conclusions on one word, and that ultimately is what it comes down to. And so we're doing what we can, and I think that as everybody, all eyes are watching, we know that we have your support, and moving forward, we will do everything that we can to make sure that our laws are enforced.
We appreciate that. And again, I want to reiterate, don't be allowed to be threatened, bullied, or intimidated, because that is obviously their tactic. And we, my colleagues and I, and our group we will not be bullied, we will not be threatened, and we will not be intimidated. Tama County Against Turbines is also Tama County taxpayers. Over 90% of our funding is Tama County taxpayers. And we thank you.
Thank you. There'll be no action taken. Is there anything any other board member wants to make, or if not, we'll move on? Supervisor updates by district.
I guess I can start, to the aging, and we've discussed some more ways to spend that money now that they're not using it for rent. I think some of us are gonna go to the city council and see if they maybe help with food pantries. It's a tough situation with the cost of, transportation and things like that too. It's always been a big issue that Tama Toledo is always getting the majority of the benefits of the Board of Aging. With their meals and such. It's offered to everybody, but it's tough for anybody of age to drive from Traer, either, Lincoln, Gerald, anybody like that, it's hard when they get that age, but, so, and that's always been a discussion anyway, and it came to the point where I think we flat out, there are about 10 people getting the benefits of what's going on right now, day in and day out. And what they do, they can go to, Spankies. They have a little card, they can go and have a meal, and it's just tough. It's tough getting it across the county, and so food pantries was brought up. Was there anything else that got orders here? But I mean, so I haven't got to the board meeting in Dyser about that yet, but we're just looking for some ways to help the older generation there. And then I did go to the econ meeting for David, and the director did put her resignation in.
When's that effective?
At the end of the year.
Okay.
The 30th, yep.
June 30th.
June 30th, yep. And, without all the funding, most of the funding coming from us and a couple other issues, that there was just no pathway forward really, for her. The 28E is still gonna be there. I would foresee some of the board members leaving, of that board. But basically with leaving the 28E there and our director resigning, and her assistant is already resigned, she's in the assessor's office now. It's just one, I guess, the ball's in our court now. How we'd like to see the economic development for Tama County go forward. I guess it's on our laps now, and we can discuss and see. And that, I think that's the biggest reason they kept the 2080 out there. So David, if you can, I got a note on your desk that they'll have one last meeting, the 24th, down at the office, so. Other
Is
than
that the 24th of June?
Correct.
Okay, I should be back if the planes all fly.
All right, yep, so that should do it for District 1.
Good. For District 3, I mean, just add on to the economic, I know it's important to all of us for sure, so, I've been working on it as well, I think it'd be good, to go to that, we need to understand what's our path forward, we need to understand, are we gonna alter that 2080, are we gonna, do like Powashik County does and have a separate economic development that's with different business owners that actually have, chair and vice chair and kind of seats. We need to figure out what's the best path to move Tama County forward on economic development. Not that there hasn't been a lot of good work done in the past, but as Kurt said, things have changed. We have nobody in 1 month in that position. So we need to figure out what should we fund that comes out of taxpayers' money? Do we do a little bit less and have businesses? Do we still fund it? So we're still trying to figure out the best path, but it is going to be worked on and important here to get ironed out this summer, I would say. Otherwise, most of my meetings were the following month, but I'll just say, like I said, with the wind turbine stuff going on in the area, I received a phone call. There's a lot of stressed people that thought this project had gone away. The people are kind of waking up because they're looking out their window and seeing dirt being moved and seeing how close these really are gonna be to houses. But the ordinances back from 2010, it's a quarter of a mile just over that these things would be from a house at 500 plus foot tall. So the reality is hitting people. It's disheartening. I know there's been concerns on our ordinance for a lot of years. It was not looked at by the zoning commission for several years. It's outdated, but there is still an ordinance, and like we said, the law needs to be followed. Even that old thing has lots of things in it that needs to be followed. So, so yeah, continue to have people call me if you have issues. So far, that neighbor said there's at least 4 of them in the area that are not happy about it. There's concerns, what can they do? As well as we had one person emailed the board this morning in favor of the project. They have no turbines and they live in Blackhawk County. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm welcome to feedback. Anybody can call me or anybody on the board. I know I'm in the project area, but, it's good to know how people feel because obviously, it's been mostly on the against it and for several reasons, ordinance, just whatever reasons there's out there, but let me know if, anything comes up. But that's pretty much where we're at. I'll continue to watch. Ben has the road use plan and, we need to look through that, make sure they're following, even though they're not supposed to be doing anything. Let's make sure we know what they're doing and that they're abiding by it, so we don't have damages that we can't fix later. So, but yeah. So,
Right, I attended a meeting, one of David's, Central Iowa detention, 2 weeks ago on Friday, and they continue to move forward. There's a lawsuit that one of the counties is suing, Central Iowa detention, and there's a lot of drama that goes on with that board. And, David, you can have that one when you come back.
I thought you were gonna take it away from me.
Oh, I changed my mind. They have, so the original 10 counties from Central Iowa detention, Tama came in as number 10. And so they would think, they're discussing who is an actual voting member. And there's like 30 some counties, almost 40 that, make up member counties of Central Iowa detention. And so there's assets there, that the original group invested in. And so they're wanting, it's really about control and about, money, I guess. And, detention should be about providing services to the kids that are locked up there, good quality services. And when you're fighting with each other, it's hard to do that. So I made that point, and, then I left an egg there for egg to hatch when David comes back. So we'll see what they thought of that. The other committee that I'm on is the mental health, and mental health regionally will go away June 30th. And the state takes over July 1st. They've been funding it for the last couple of years. They'll have full control of that. Moving forward, they have a administrative service organization, an ASO, to run the whole state. And what that will look like, they've put out lots of plans, but when you actually see it in implementation, we'll understand what services are going to be added or what is going to remain and what's going to be cut. So far, the only thing that we have on the docket, that has anything to do with them is our, mental health advocate for committals. If you have a adult involuntary committal to a psychiatric ward, we have an advocate that the county funds, but the state's reimbursing us for, we hope. And, she advocates on behalf of the individual that's, and trying to get them plugged into local services. And I had a couple of meetings last week with, the Prairie Ridge who came here, Darcy Maiden Parks. She came and, presented to our board. I had a conversation, with Paul Daniel. Paul Daniel's the, executive director for Center Associates. Center Associates is closing in, Tama County, and, cited many concerns. One of them is their building, is not sufficient. I guess it's settling and there's some problems there anyway. And so with the economic climate, they're not able to provide the services. There were 3 full-time therapists that work out of that office that will be relocated to Marshalltown. That's their plan as of now. In meeting with them, I asked them to delay their decision I haven't heard back whether they're going to do that or not, but I have a meeting scheduled this week with, Prairie Ridge Center Associates, the regional CEO of the behavioral health region. Her name's Mary McKinnell, myself, and, the auditor and Michelle will be attending that to discuss, a transition plan. If there's any way that we can keep some of those therapists here, if we could provide space or if, whatever we can do to keep those services here. One of the things that's really difficult, once somebody Prairie Ridge will come in and they'll build a caseload and they'll bring therapists with them. But the people who are struggling right now already have a connection to the therapist that they're already seeing. And that's the problem with, removing the individual and just replacing it with somebody else. And so working hard on trying to keep those services here so that when we do have our, mental health liaison through the sheriff's office, that there'll actually be services here that we can plug them into. And so that's the state of that. We'll do everything that we can to keep them here, and if, there's not a whole lot that we can do to make them, but we're going to try to accommodate them to keep the services here. If not, we'll build new services. Yeah. That's, basically my update. I think, Kurt.
District 5, mostly my work on personal end and then traveling the roads and filling in complaints and, had quite a few, worked with Ben on quite a few topics, H Avenue, G Avenue, south of Tama. We got kind of a plan there. I think probably gonna address that here pretty soon.
Yep.
I had terrible, or not terrible, but a lot of complaints about roads and washing and everything with that rain and stuff that we've had. Hopefully we can address a lot of that stuff and get it, I think we got a lot of it addressed, but there's a ways to go yet. Other than that, it looks like everybody's doing what they should be out there in my travels I travel a lot of the county. I travel a lot of Benton County, Powashik, Tama. So I do a lot of driving for my work, so everything around here looks pretty decent so far. We're kind of keeping up with everybody else in the other counties, so. I guess if we got any more complaints or anything, call, email, whatever, text. I'll get them addressed and we'll go from there.
David, do you have any updates for committees before you left? Or?
I had a meeting with Region 6, and there's still money out there that's being spent. I need to look at that a little bit more in detail when I get back. I wanted to make a mention about our ordinances. We're supposed to go through them every 5 years. This year's our 5th year. And with the issues that you guys have brought up already, we need to make sure that our ordinances, all of them, I don't care what it's about, but all of them, are they actually needed? If they are they worded correctly? And do they have teeth in them? So that I actually ran on that. And that was one of the things I talked about doing, because I used to write regulations for the Air Force. I will tell you, I was very frustrated with my trip. Not only am I sick, the infrastructure in our airlines is horrible. The people who work the counters are great, but the airlines themselves, they're not planning ahead. And I'll give you guys more information when I get back. But it brings to mind that we as a county, particularly our board, we need to make sure that our infrastructure is being addressed now and as we go farther forward, because there's some huge gaping holes in our airlines. And if you're planning on traveling this year, I planned 5 days in advance to make sure I got to a wedding. I got there 12 hours before the wedding. That's how bad our airline systems are. So, and I've traveled over 60 years, but there's application to what we do as a county. We need to make sure that we're doing our job right, and we're serving our citizens. So when I get back, I've got a whole bunch of things on my plate, and thanks, Mark, for dumping that back. Of course, I laid the bed in there for that egg that you laid. I already gave them some grief over the way they treat each other at the the juvenile center, so. I'll be more than happy to hatch that egg and deal with it. Any questions for me?
Nope. Thank you, Dave.
Yep.
Okay. Discussion, possible action of hiring, none of that, probably. We're in our last month there, thankfully. Discussion and approved claims.
Comma, 195, what's 64? $112,195.64.
Need a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Been moved,
Second.
seconded. Discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Public comments, again, we'll open it back up. Anybody else have anything to say? Here,
I absolutely do. I implore you guys to look back on the May 12th, revisit that resolution 5-12-2025A. Be it resolved, the Tama County Board of Supervisors hereby resolves to authorize the county treasurer to deposit county funds in the following bank and set the amount as follows: Iowa Public Agency Investment Trust, Des Moines, $10,000. So, that decision was made hastily, and it needs to be reviewed. There was somebody else here that questioned it after the meeting that day also. We got a lot going on, and it's getting worse, financially, I'm talking about right now, even what the things that David just spoke to. We've had this brought up before with the 3 supervisors moving funds. We need to keep our money where we can see it, and it needs to stay in the county, and there is no reason on God's green earth to send our money to a bank somewhere else. We don't know anything about those people, who they invest in, what they invest in, who they're helping, who they're holding up. I've got 3 very, very close relatives that are involved deeply in banking long-term, and they all 3 have issues. Some are personal plus bank, but it's not a good thing. And you know, all 3 of those people, so closely related, they cover up their problems that they're having in their banking industries. They will not, even after they have been let go, they will not tell the truth about, they will not be transparent about what happened within their banking institution. So for us to be sending our money anywhere besides where we can see it and out of the county, it just doesn't make any sense at all. So I would like you guys to revisit that decision and rein it in almost immediately, please. Thank you.
anybody else wish to speak from the public? Richard?
I voiced my opinion last Thursday concerning the stay and asked you to put it on the agenda this morning. I trust this board is doing the right thing to implement that. State code is very specific, that 335.14. I hope the county's attorneys move quickly and that we're not back here next Monday saying, well, we're still talking to the lawyers, seeing what they can do. I mean, Casey told me last week, he couldn't do anything because they actually weren't building. But when you start digging a hole, that's construction. So come on, guys, let's get moving. Thank you.
Thank you. Bales? What about your dinner on Thursday night?
22, like.
Lori? The community center? In Tama?
Oh, woo, she's awake now.
You mean the supper with superheroes? Is that what you're talking about?
No,
The
the,
Lowe's
commu-
That one starts,
the Lowe's and what's that?
that starts this in June, right? The Lowe's, free Lowe's. Okay, yeah. That's June 5th. Sorry, that's a different organization, that's not us.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
There's 4 ladies that have started that program.
Okay.
It's, Julie Rachi, Michelle Evans, Charlene Kinko, and Polly Heineman.
okay. Anything I get from you, I just assume it's public health.
Just trying to spread the information.
Yep, there's gonna be a community meal, somebody,
Every
what is,
Thursday. from
4 ladies
4:30 till 6,
Thursday from 4:30 till 6,
Civic Center.
Tama Civic Center, a meal. And a kind of a community get together, through the summer, I assume, and just wanted to give it some extra exposure.
It's like the House of Compassion in Marshalltown is what they're trying to get started.
Oh, good, that would be great.
Could you maybe, define or explain what the House of Compassion is, please?
House of Compassion is in Marshalltown. Used to be they used to have a homeless shelter there, but now they offer a community meal every night. It's an old church, but it's now the House of Compassion. Lots of groups go in there and cook, and they do a volunteer hours and those kind of things. Okay. All right, anybody else wish to speak? No, we'll close public comments. And if we've addressed everything on the meeting, we'll adjourn at 9:30. Thank you.
Yeah.